Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen. We back with another episode of Homefield, the podcast, y'all. And I got a special guest in the building, my big cousin, my big brother, Kyle Sanford. Welcome to the show, boys.
Appreciate you talking to me, man. I'm actually excited. I'm real excited to do it.
We got a hell of a topic today, man.
Hey, I'm ready to get into it now.
We ain't gonna waste no time. So like I mentioned, man, this is my older cousin, man. Former airman. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
United States Air Force, current Michigan State police officer.
That is correct.
And we're gonna get the perspective of a police officer, given the climate, social climate of minorities, especially black individuals in law enforcement, in this country, and some of the miscommunication, for lack of better words.
For sure, big time.
For lack of better words. So I guess my first question is like, what was the influence behind making the decision of enlisting into the Air Force?
Okay, so
let's start there.
Yeah, we can start there. So really that decision had a lot to do with knowing that I wasn't a student.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like in high school, all I really can recall is go to college. But I could never wrap my head around
going to college.
I'm like, man, I like high school, I know ain't that hard. Matter of fact, I had an academic scholarship to Grand Valley that I had, but being young and you know what I'm saying, not really staying the course, I ended up putting myself in a position to where I lost the scholarship. You know what I mean? My grades dropped, my GPA dropped, all of that. And at the time, my attitude was kind of like, man, I don't really care, because I'm like, what was I gonna major in anyway?
Right.
What is my goal in life?
Right.
And I didn't see college fitting in that. So one thing is, growing up, with my pops, hey, you gonna work or you gonna be in school? You're not finna lay around. Because I had like 6 months after high school, I'm just laying around, chilling. So, long story short, I decided that I would just go to MCC and pay through school, and just pay out of pocket.
Right.
So I started working at UPS, working up in there.
I feel like everybody in the world at some point in time that worked at UPS, bro.
Hey, yeah, I remember you was in that thing.
I was in that thing. Yeah. My little brother right now back in KZoo, he in UPS. I think that's a staple for some
everybody.
people.
That's like Michigan Adventure,
no cap.
like
no cap.
Like everybody that first job.
Everybody that had their turn at UPS for sure.
Yeah. So, I was at UPS for a minute. Definitely wasn't feeling the load and the unload.
No, of course not.
I'm like, nah, this ain't where it's at. So I hopped over and ended up working at Herman Miller, and actually it was just a blessing. I was in that thing like maybe like 3-4 months. Got hired in out the gate. I had just turned 18, and then while I was working there, that's when I started to see like the money was straight for me at 18. That money was cool.
Ain't got no real responsibilities.
Yeah, I'm still staying at the crib, so I'm stacking my little money up. And I'm, buying what clothes on. At the time, it was Red Monkeys and Evisos, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We was getting to it.
Facts.
So, threw the rims on the car, throwing the music, and so far that I'm feeling good. And then over time, I started looking around like, this is enough for me now. But what happened when I have a family? What happened, 10 years down the line? Is this little $17 an hour, $18 an hour? Actually, I don't think it was. I think it was like 16 and some change starting to So I'm like, this ain't gonna be enough. So, I'm working third shift at the time, and I'm seeing these older people coming in, been there 15 years, 20 years, some longer than that. They coming in, dragging themselves in the morning.
That ain't not a place you want to be.
Nah. So I'm like, this not for me. So I gotta start thinking of my next move. So what can I do that's gonna keep me from going to college, like where I don't have to go and spend this money, but I can still be successful. So at the time, like I said, my dad was in the Coast Guard, so growing up seeing, that was never something I wanted to do. I never had any interest in the military at all, but it was always something in me that kind of wondered, like, could I do that?
Right.
Especially after I started kind of getting into working out and physical fitness and stuff, I kind of wanted to challenge myself. So at that point, my pops had planted that seed years ago, so it was like, all right, let's do it. And I already knew it wasn't gonna be no Army, Navy, Marines. I don't like the water, none of that. So Air Force was like the only option. So I'm like, let's do it. So
process of elimination, you was summoned to the Air Force.
Yeah. That's the only reason I made that choice.
Okay, so what was that experience like? making that decision, you know, and what was that conversation like with your pops and your peoples, you know, basically, you know, stating that school ain't for me, and that's already been established.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna do something to be a productive citizen in this world, and then you decide to go to the Air Force.
Yeah. Well, I remember the first thing was when I made that decision. Me and Lene at the time, I don't think we was engaged yet. I think we was still dating. But either way, like I had talked to her about it, and that was the first thing. Like she was supportive on it. So that was big right there. Like okay, I can make that move. And then, you know, my dad was down. He like, yeah, I think you should. He always done say, I think every man should have to serve at least 2 years. You know, blah blah blah. So he always was like that anyway. So he was down with it. My mama kind of felt two ways about it.
Right. But as a mother would.
Yeah, for sure. You know, but after I made that move, you know, it ended up being, you know, a real good decision. Just putting me in a perspective to be able to see a different perspective that I didn't know. I didn't know I was so closed-minded. Right. You know, coming from Muskegon, like I didn't realize there was a mindset that was specific to Muskegon.
Absolutely, bro. It really is.
Yeah, it really is. Real.
That's real. It's real as hell because I see it like the conversations I had with me and some of my homeboys, and you know, like my man's Wood, he out in Baltimore now. You know, my boy E, he in Detroit now. You know, it's a few dudes here that's in Muskegon that I still, you know, got relationships with, but. You know, my boy Ace, he in Texas. And I'm in Kalamazoo. We all done seen, like, you know, I'm not out the state, but I done seen different things. Like school, one thing school did was expose me to different perspectives, right? And, you know, it opened up all of our eyes and our mindsets just shifted. And then when we reflect on the individuals that's still here, that we went to school with and we grew up with, that haven't had that exposure, you know, we for sure, you know, pinpointed like that, like it's a real live certain type of mentality here that we just not. We're not a part of anymore, and we don't want to be.
Nah, don't want no parts of it, and it's kind of crazy because stepping away, like you said, whether you step in another city, you see it a little bit, but then when I stepped into a situation where, like, when I'm in basic, like for the first time, meeting people from Tennessee, from Germany, people from Cali, and you know what I'm saying, New Orleans, everywhere. So I started seeing that, man, everybody. Like, it's not like that. I thought everybody thought a certain way, and you know, and kind of, you know what I'm saying, a mentality like it ain't nothing else. You know what I'm saying? Like it's nothing bigger. It's like hard for people to look past like the current.
Yep.
And I started seeing that other places people not always like that.
So you made that transition to going into the Air Force, and then. After how long you spend in the Air Force?
Just under 5 years, like 4.5 years, something
and
like that.
You were stationed in Hawaii after you got done with basic, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. How was that? Yeah. How was like living in Hawaii, bro?
Hey, it's crazy, like, cause when you say it sounds way different than the reality. You know what I'm saying? Like realistically, it's a beautiful place, and it was cool to be there, especially like coming from here. Like I'm like, man, I'm seeing palm trees, like
tropical weather.
In my palm trees in my front yard, like. You know, just being young too, like man, I was like 22, you know what I'm saying? So we like went from just last year, you know what I'm saying? I'm still, you know, relying on my people to now we halfway across the world, and we living on an island. Right. You know, and surrounded by beautiful water and mountains, and it was crazy. So that experience was cool, but it also opened my eyes to that, because being there I seen like, dang, like a lot of the local people here ain't got bread like that. A lot of them, it's 3-4 generations in the household. You know what I'm saying? And like the mental problems, and you know what I mean. You see a lot of people walking around talking to themselves. You know what I'm saying? You see a lot of, you know, drug abuse and that kind of stuff. People that ain't got nothing, living in tents, and this is like everywhere you see this, and it's like, dang, this ain't what they show in the little brochures on TV. Right. You know, they show the little resort, Waikiki, all that, but you don't see none of this just by driving to the mall, man. You really see what it is, and that's like eye opening, because it's like that's really on one end it's a beautiful thing, because you got like the military people that's over there, and we living good, like the government taking care of us, nice houses, you know what I'm saying, money straight, whatever, and on the other hand, the people that's really they land, they really from there. You saying like my house is nicer than theirs, and my neighborhood is nicer. You know, is living in a neighborhood that's nicer than the ones a lot of the local people living in or whatever. So from that aspect, it just kind of, you know, it's just eye opening. Like man, it's a big world, and it ain't, you know what I'm saying, it's a lot of hoods, it's a lot of people that struggle.
It's a hood everywhere for sure.
Yeah, even in Hawaii. So you know, that was crazy to me. Okay.
Yeah, cause I remember seeing pictures and stuff. I'm like, oh man, my nigga out there living good. But you're right. It's a metaphor, but it's true. It's a hood everywhere. You know, it's people that, you know, experiencing the same things that we experience here in Muskegon, down there in those cities and in those towns. But so after, you know, doing your under 5 years in the Air Force, what happened after that? You transitioned to becoming a state trooper, right? A state police officer. Is that a common transition from people to go from being military personnel to you know, coming back and then, you know, joining law enforcement? Is that a common transition?
Yeah, it's pretty common, man. When I went to the police academy, I'd say probably, I don't know, 30% of the people that was there. It was like I think when I went it was like 98, so about 100 of us, and I'd say there was at least, you know, 20 plus 30 guys that all had a military background that did that. And quiet as it's kept, the military is the only reason I ended up in that position to do it. Because one thing happened was, like, growing up, just like anybody else, all my experience with the police for the most part was negative. Right. I didn't have a whole bunch of positive experiences. Like, it was always getting stopped and you know, almost stopping ID type situation. It was a lot of, you know, starting all the way in middle school. We walking home from school and the police pull up on us. They walking up, grabbing random backpacks, boom, unzipping the backpack, looking in it. Of course, we kids, we don't know they can't do that. Right. Well, you know what I'm saying? And they like, well, you was walking in the street, that's why we talking to. So jaywalking, mean I get searched now. What you looking for? So
I'm 12.
right. Nobody on nothing out here. So,
but it's ironic because we gonna get in deeper. But like you say that, like, you know, we kids, we ain't got nothing but it's situations in the world where 12-year-olds have been taken out the game. You know, because they was 12 and jaywalking in the street.
Yeah. And that, you know, and that's the reality. Because at the time, you know, we're not looking at it like that. We just know, man, we don't really like the police for real. Yeah, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we see them coming, there's a genuine fear that came with that. So anyway, as I got older, of course, you know, those situations didn't stop. They continue to happen at different times. You know, once I got my license, started driving. Of course, I had tents on my car and all of that. So I could about set my watch to, you know, when I was gonna get pulled over, depending on what neighborhood I was in, where I'm going. You know, time of day. Yep, all of that. So as soon as I leave the house, I'm accounting for where I gotta go with this traffic stop that I know gonna take. Right. You know what I mean? So it was really that frequent that I was getting stopped. I'm like, shoot, man, I gotta go drive over there past the high school, this and that. Yeah. You know, I'm just on my way to the barber shop. But I'm already knowing, at that corner, there's a good chance I might get flicked, whatever. And I wasn't too worried about it because I almost got used to it. It's like, man, it just come with it. Either I get a ticket or I won't, whatever. But, you know, a few of them times, you know, those situations made me feel like I was being treated like I was a criminal. So I'm like, bro, this over tinted windows. It's over tinted windows. Like, why is we going into all this extra stuff or whatever? So exactly. So a lot of those things had put a bad taste in my mouth, and so I really ain't had no desire for law enforcement, none of that. But being in the Air Force, I started. You know, I guess to back up a little bit, I initially wanted to go into firefighting. I never wanted to be a police officer, and in the military, my job ended up being security forces, which is a military police officer in the Air Force. So I was going in to be a firefighter in the Air Force. You know, growing up, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Uncle Ernie. I always looked up to Uncle Ernie. Like, my pops was my hero. But Uncle Ernie was my real life hero, you know what I mean? Yeah. That was the guy. Ernie D. Straight up. So I remember like reading newspaper articles and seeing his name and stuff like that when I was in elementary school. So I always thought that was so cool, and I wanted to do that. But it just so happened that when I was leaving for basic, the timing of me going was dependent on my job. Okay. And I initially got the firefighter job offered to me,
Mm-hmm.
but the time I would have had to leave interfered with me getting married. So that was a no-go. We already done put down payments down. We done took care of it. It was like, it's a wrap. So my man's even told me, the recruiter, like, hey, if you want this job, you're going to have to you're gonna have to postpone that wedding or change the date. I'm like, nah, that's not going to happen, man. So anyway, so they pulled that job from me, and the next thing in line was security forces, and they made it sound cool. Like, they're like, oh, yeah, you're going to be shooting grenade launchers. You're going to be doing this, and that. So I'm thinking it's really that. And it wasn't.
It was never that hard.
It was not even close, you know.
Damn.
But nevertheless, the training was definitely cool though, and a lot of cool experiences.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the training, because that will be another one of my questions. Like the difference between, you know, military, Air Force training, and then, you know, being in the police academy.
Yeah. Well, you got to kind of look at it two different ways, because with the Air Force, you got your regular basic training that everybody go to. You know what I mean? That 8-9 weeks. Where you doing that, where it's like combat oriented, and then it shifts into, you go to tech school, which is more like a college setting. You know what I'm saying, you living in dorms, then you know you going to PT in the morning, then after that you know you got classes all day, go to lunch, come back to class. So it's a homework, test, a lot of that. So in basic training, you know, that's more like, you know what I'm saying, we really about to try to break you. You know what I'm saying? And when you get there, like even me, like saying I was older, I was 21. You know what I'm saying? When I went to basic, a lot of guys, you know, be fresh out of high school, all that. So it really helped me having that life experience going through it, because I got in there, and you know what I'm saying, the first day I'm in that thing, man, like you know, they got us lined up against the wall, lined up against the locker, whatever. They running through our stuff. You know what I'm saying? And they looking at me, you know what I'm saying? They running through, you know what I'm saying, the little MTIs or whatever. They looking at me, and they like, oh yeah, you look like somebody that'll try to sneak something up in here. You look like you would have something on you. Like you dumb enough to bring something. What you got? And they start dumping my bag out, whatever. And I'm really feeling some kind of like, what you mean? I look, well, it ain't but 3 black folks in this room of, you know, 60 people. So I'm sitting there, you know, that's
you profiling me already.
I'm like, dang, straight up.
So did that kind of take you back to moments of being stopped by the police? Did that kind of, was that like a, not a PTSD moment, but like, was it a full circle moment in a sense?
It rung similar. It rung similar. It did feel like, dang, you can't really escape it.
No,
you know what I'm saying? You can't really escape it. And I didn't know if it was that or not, but then I started thinking about it. I'm like, he was saying to get under my skin. So whether that was a tactic he was using, or whether he really just felt that way, it, you know what I'm saying, it's all the same to me. I'm like, bro, you really saying this? And you know what I'm saying, and they're like, we just got off the bus, we just got here, type
shit.
You know what I'm saying? And them videos is real. Like, as soon as you get there, you pull up, they hop on, get off the bus, grab your bags, and you know what I mean. So we just went through that. So I'm sitting here like already like, bro, when I done got into and then, you know what I'm saying, so then having that happen like day one, it actually got worse and worse. Like that first week is actually rough. You know what I mean? They don't let you eat a whole bunch. Damn. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's different now, but I know like they had like, you dread even going down there to eat, man. You go down the stairs, whatever. You got your little tray. You got a sidestep and all that. You can't look at your food to see what you want, so you got your head upside. So you trying to peripheral that thing. You know what I mean? It was like, I think that's some oatmeal. Let
me get another scoop, please.
Yeah, but you can't talk. So you know what I'm saying? You going through that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know what I'm saying? And then at the end of the line, you got what they call it the snake pit, and is where all of the training instructors, all the MTIs sit, and they just randomly call people, well, hey, you come over here, and you got to stand in front of the table just like this, and you stand in front of them, and they get to asking you questions like, you know, whatever, like who's in your chain of command, or you know what I'm saying, what's the chevron for the chief master sergeant, or whatever question they hit you with, you know, and if you don't know, it's about to be ugly, you know what I'm saying, So you know, those situations definitely kind of was eye opening, because I'm sitting there and I know ain't nothing finna happen, but you still be in that situation like, man, this dude really barking at me right now.
I totally understand, bro.
He talking to me crazy.
I totally understand what you exactly what you mean, bro. Cause like, yeah, but that's
so you really so that was the thing with me being through it, or like, you know what I'm saying, anybody from where we from, even if you not a tough guy, you not a, you know what I'm saying, you're not a violent dude, you're not even on that, it's still a level that you go because of just, you know, where you from. You have to have that for survival mode, you know what I'm saying? And So being in a position where somebody, you know, this close to you and they talking crazy, like, man, like
you got to be humble and
like
take
move
it.
your finger again and watch what I do to you. And you standing there like, man, bro, I'll swing on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, knowing that I can't,
right.
but I'm like, bro, he really putting me in that position to feel like I'm gonna have to make that move. And I'm knowing like I came here, signed up for this. I knew what was coming. You know what I'm saying? So it's just keeping that in perspective, and it do really, you know what I'm saying, did really help with that self-control and being able to tune out. And I'll say that part transition over to, you know what I'm saying, to my position now a lot well, because it's a lot of that sitting back while people get the, you know what I'm saying, running their mouth, and you sitting there like, bruh, like, this ain't what you think it is. But at the end of the day, you know, once again, it's some not signed up for, and you know, that's kind of what I just keep in mind. Like, you know, I signed up to this for a reason, a bigger reason in this situation I'm in right now.
So was that like the same energy in the police academy too, or was it two different energies? You know, because I know I'm pretty sure that, like, you know, going through basic training and then going through the police academy, like they're their own different beasts, right? But that not police, but the basic training for sure prepared you for whatever they was throwing at you in police academy.
Basic training was way tougher than the police academy when it comes to the mental stress.
Okay.
Because in basic, like I said, when you get there that first week, you sit down, you literally get your tray, you sit down, boom, you get about 2 spoons in your mouth. All right, that's it. Get up. You done had enough water. You know what I'm saying? And you got to get up. You got a whole tray of food, you throw it in the garbage. Keep it moving. You hungry in the mud. They done had you running 5 miles.
Right.
You know, you hungry. And then lunch, same thing. You sit down, you like, dude, at least I get to eat lunch. You sit down, you get one bite. All right, that's it. You get up. So you get to the point where you don't even want to go down. They're like, man, I'm just getting yelled at. They won't let me eat nothing. You know what I'm saying? One time I seen a cat, because you couldn't sit down at the table till everybody got there. And it was like 4 or 5 chairs or whatever around a circle table. So you know what I'm saying, get to the table. You just got to stand behind your chair, wait for the chairs to fill up, and then y'all sit down together. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I remember, and then y'all had to get up together. So I remember, you know, the MTI come over, he yelling, hey, y'all get up, stop eating, whatever. I see my man, he got like a muffin with the blueberries on top of it, right?
Right.
My man's try to get one extra spoon. I see him trying. I'm like looking at him like he try to. Bro, the MTI hop on the table. I'm talking about boots, boom, middle of the table. He kick his tray on the floor, whatever, man. Forks and spoons go everywhere. Oatmeal flying. Hey, now pick it up, clean it up, clean it up with your hands. He don't even like get the top. My man get the. You know what I'm saying? I'm standing there like, bruh, like this crazy. This like day 3, day 4 there. Right. So I'm like, man, this is gonna be a long 9 weeks, man. But after like that first like 2 weeks, they kind of chill on that and they start letting you eat a little bit. You still gotta be, you know what I'm saying, you 30 seconds and out, but you get a little more time or whatever. But that environment mentally, you know what I'm saying, had you like drained. You ain't really getting the food. Right. You know what I'm saying? You getting yelled at all day. You stressed. And then when it come time to go to sleep, they don't let you sleep. You know, all night long, they coming to the door. Bang, boo, 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 boo. Open the door, open the door. Like, you ain't supposed to open the door. You got one dude that's like basically doing security. And they got to basically get like the passcode basically in order for you to open the door. And so different training instructors throughout the night who ain't got authorization to come in start banging on the yelling. You gonna get, you know what I'm saying? Like you getting kicked out of my Air Force if you don't open this door right now. I'm going to get the general and I'm coming back. So you better open the door. So now buddy don't know if this real or fake. He's standing there like, do I open this door? You know what I mean? So even though I'm not on security. I'm in the room trying to sleep. But you hear that all night long. Boo, boo, boo. Open this door right now. Like, so you getting that side of it. Right. Or they just come in and they start looking at your uniforms had to be hung up a certain way. So they coming in, checking your uniforms and all that. So while they checking your uniforms and everything, like let's say they find one button undone or out of place or a string or something, they coming. The middle's throwing, you know what I'm talking about, throwing your locker across the room, or whatever. So you waking up to that, man, like even in a training environment, it started making it like so you can't sleep because you
apprehensive about everything that's coming.
You panicking, you get up. Boo.
That anxiety real.
You know, sometimes they make everybody get up. Sometimes it's just the one dude, and it's the dude on the top bunk. You laying under, and they grab him up. Hey, get on the floor. Get on your face. You know what I'm saying? He doing push-ups or doing burpees or whatever for the next, you know what I'm saying, 30 minutes. Then, all right, get back in the bed and go sleep. They turn the lights out, whatever. 10 seconds later, Reveille playing. It's time to wake up. Bro, I ain't getting no sleep last night. Back to training. So, you know, so being in that environment, when you transition to the police academy, it wasn't nothing like that. Like, they try to be paramilitary, and they try. You got to march around and all of that. They do a lot of inspections in your room and all that. But I will say this, though, about the police academy. It was physically harder than, you know what I'm saying, the Air Force. The Air Force was like a lot of mental, a lot of classes and stuff, and you worked out in the beginning of the day, and then the rest of it is classes, and then sometimes, you know, towards the, especially if y'all got in trouble or something, they make you go out there and do a ruck march, and you got your bag and your gear on, so that stuff happened too. Right. But in the police academy, it was non-stop. It was like you wake up 5 a.m, whatever, y'all run 6-7 miles. You get back, y'all eat, then they put you in the pool. You know what I'm saying? Then you gotta swim for an hour and a half, basically. You know, you tread water for 30 minutes.
And this a dude that ain't fucking with water.
No, not at all, bro. I drowned in the police academy.
That ain't funny. That ain't funny, but damn.
Bro, I full on blacked out, woke up on the floor bleeding. Like, you know what I mean? It, It was crazy. I woke.
Police academy, I'm gonna cut a case. That's what it sounded like to me.
Hey, but it was that was like they got a week called like Water Safety Week. And that week is tough, and I know it's tough for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like my man's is a white boy from Detroit, but he used to be a lifeguard and everything. And,
he was having issues.
And he was struggling with it. You know what I'm saying? But it was by that time in the academy, it was only, I think we started with like 6 black people out of the 100 people. 6 black people. We was first day of Water Safety. We was down to like 3.
Really? So they quit the academy.
They quit that first day. Like nah, this ain't it.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And so the 3 of us that's left, we looking at each other, and all of us struggle. You know what I mean? Which like it ain't no coincidence. I'm like, it's 6 black people here, and ain't none of us excelling at this.
Nah,
you know what I'm saying?
And what's crazy is Kyle, the thing is, when it comes to like black folks and swimming, it's this stereotype nowadays that black folks don't mess with water and black folks don't swim. Yeah. But early on in civilization history, black folks, Africans were the individuals who taught Europeans how to swim in the ocean. And where the stereotype now came from was through the Middle Passage, and you know, black folks slaves jumping off the ship and in the water and things of that nature. That's where that come from. Yeah. But it's like, historically, in the beginning, we were the individuals teaching Europeans when they would come to Africa how to swim in our oceans and in our waters and stuff like that. But nowadays, you say y'all started with 6 during that week, ended with 3, and it ain't no coincidence. Ain't none of us fucking with this water.
Nah, ain't none of us. Cause I think my one homeboy, my partner was from Pontiac. The other black dude was from Detroit, and I'm from Muskegon. So like we all sitting there like, man, this ain't it. So that was the only time the police academy was a little over 6 months. That was the only time throughout that whole time frame where I actually had checked out, and I was like, I don't want to do this. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do it. And I actually, at one point, I about quit, man. Like we in there, like I said, they used to make you tread water in a circle. Y'all get in a circle, so it's like 15 people, whatever, and y'all just tread water. But this is after they made y'all swim. Like they just set the clock for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and y'all just swim laps for 10 minutes, 15 minutes straight. So you exhausted. Right. Then they're like, all right, circle up, and you in a circle treading water, and you got to do that for another, you know, it might be 5 minutes, it might be 10 minutes, but me, I don't float anyway. So I can't tread
I ain't gonna lie, I still don't know how to float.
Nah, man, like, and like, you know, as a kid, like, I took swimming lessons for 2-3 years.
Never finished them. I never finished mine.
Where you ain't never finished them?
I ain't never finished mine, Kyle.
This is crazy. I thought I could swim. I thought I was a good swimmer because in comparison to other black folks,
you was doing it.
I'm that guy. Like, I'm like, bro, I can get out there and you know what I'm saying, with the best of them. You know what I mean? Right. Speaking of Hawaii, when I was in Hawaii, like, I remember going out with my master. We had PT on a kayak. Flipped the kayak on the middle of the ocean. No life jackets, nothing. You know what I'm saying? I was able to maneuver through that situation. You know what I'm saying? And swim and get the kayak and flip it back over and all of that, all in the middle of the ocean. You know, a few miles off the coast of Hawaii. You know what I mean? So that situation was a scary situation, but because of that, I thought, like, man, yeah, I'm good. I'm a decent swimmer. You know what I mean? Right. So fast forward to the police academy, and they talking about treading water, and I just sink. You know what I mean? So when it got to that situation of like I said, where they wanted you to hold these bricks above your head and pass the bricks around. Every time I grab the brick, I'm going underwater, so it's like waterboarding yourself. You know what I mean? So it got a situation where I get the tunnel vision. I can tell I ain't got enough oxygen. I'm starting to feel like I'm about to black out. You know what I mean?
And one day you did.
So I was in that, but I was in the position to where, like, in my head the whole time, I'm like, this ain't worth it. Like, I'm not finna die in here. Like it's some people. I mean, especially when it comes to the state boys, it's a lot of guys that's like, this is what I wanted to do my whole life. Your
whole life, right?
So they willing to die for it, and that's how they talk to you in police academy. Like, the door right there, you can leave this, and that, whatever. And I'm sitting there like, bruh, I can go somewhere. Here's the crazy part: it's not even a requirement in Michigan to be able to swim to be a police officer. So this is just some state police shit. You know what I'm saying? Standard that they done threw on there. This ain't even required. So I'm like, bruh, I could do something else with my life. I can go somewhere else. Like, y'all got me in here finna die over a badge. You crazy?
I'm straight on it. So I guess I want to transition a little bit. I want to talk about we talked about the physical training of the police academy, but I want to talk about the classroom training. Yeah. What tools did they equip y'all with to handle conflict? Because obviously there's a miscommunication. There's something between citizens of black people and then brown, other minorities, and law enforcement. So like I'm curious to know what are they teaching y'all in the academy, right?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question, man. Like so the thing is this is where I'm gonna kind of sidestep the question, but I'm gonna come back to it.
Okay, bet.
Yeah. So when it comes to the training with the police, in some cases there's a training issue. In other cases, it's an application issue.
Okay.
And so I'll say it like this: when you're in the police academy, you have you you got your legal classes. I mean, you got your patrol classes where, it start at the basics of like, this is how you drive. Like, you literally, they like teach you how to drive like you don't know how to drive. Like, you get on the road, okay, let's see if you know how to, make a U-turn on the freeway. All that kind of stuff. People don't think about, cars going past you at, 90 miles an hour, 85 miles an hour, and you trying to, get off the shoulder and flip around. That stuff, you got to practice that stuff. So there's classes like that.
Okay.
Learning how to maneuver and position your vehicle and things, and then also there's the the classes where you're actually looking at kind of the weapons we use, and you're practicing with the weapons, and when can you use this, the use of force type stuff. When can you use deadly force? When what tools are considered deadly force? What's considered an intermediate weapon? That kind of stuff. So you cover all that in the course of that 6 months. So the issue a lot of times doesn't arise coming out the academy, because when you come out the academy, you've been training every single day.
Right.
Like, you doing the defensive tactics stuff, where where you're working on handcuffing, and even to the standpoint of where when you handcuff somebody, you're making sure that you checking in for tension, so you never putting them on too tight. You not having somebody wrists all bent up or whatever. So you work on all of that stuff, and the same thing with just the hand-to-hand situation. Like they put you in situations to where you got to fight on your back. You know what I mean? You trying to arrest somebody that don't want to comply and all of that. So, but you're doing it every single day.
Right.
So you get good at it. Problem is, once you get out the academy and get on the road, unless you actively doing it on your own, on your off time, there's some guys that take jiu-jitsu classes, judo classes, stuff like that. If you're not actively doing that on your own, that means you're only getting training once a year. You know what I'm saying? So you
lose that repetition. Yeah,
that repetition is something you have to do.
Absolutely.
You can't do nothing and excel and be good at it, and you do it once a year. But because of people who ain't got time, a lot of police agencies and stuff is undermanned and understaffed. So you got people, a lot of agencies where there's a lot of overtime, there's a lot of mandatory overtime, that kind of stuff as well. So, or there's just not the budget for it. There's no money to bring this training more than this one time a year. So now you got a guy who he might be a 12-year veteran, 13-year veteran.
But he ain't trained and
he ain't trained
seriously
since he was in academy. And then when he go to his refresher courses and stuff, you know, he'll go through it for that 2-3 hours or whatever. But how much of that is he gonna retain?
Absolutely, because I think about, you know, stuff for like not even, you know, in your realm, but other trainings for jobs I didn't work. Yeah. Like, man, we going in this training, man. Hurry up and get me out this bitch.
Yeah. Police is human, so you still get that too. Most guys when they go into train, they not about to, you know, keep this going, and they not gonna keep training on their own time because they got their own family. They got situations they dealing with, whatever, where they ain't got the time to do it. And then that's money too, really, especially if you get into like an MMA gym or something where you trying to stay on it. But those things are necessary to be able to deal with a world where it's not uncommon for somebody to you know, fight with the police. It's not uncommon for somebody to see basically to do whatever they got to do to get out that situation they put themselves in. Right. You know what I'm saying? And when they doing that, that's not their fault. That the police wouldn't prepare to handle that. Cause so a lot of these situations that happen, you know, throughout the country is the unfortunate circumstances that you get who you get. And what I mean is there's people who aren't alive today who would be alive if another police officer had showed up. There's people that have been killed because the officer feared for their life, but that officer feared because they were inadequate with their skill set. But had it been an officer who was training, who was in shape, who was comfortable in that situation, it made it look totally different. Right. So unfortunately, this person got the officer that wasn't ready for it. And there's a lot of officers that are, but that's not the majority. It's actually the minority of officers that are physically fit, that are, you know, taking care of their body, and they're also making sure mentally they're in a place to where when they at work and they dealing with these situations, they are de-escalating situations and not taking on the challenge. You know what I'm saying?
Talk about that. The difference between, you know, de-escalating the situation and taking on the challenge. Is that two different things?
Oh, for sure. Because like, you have to know your environment. And
facts.
For example, let's say you working in the inner city, you working in the hood, whatever. You already know when you pull up that nobody like you. Yeah. You could just assume that. You might have a couple people that's like, hey, what up? But for the most part, ain't nobody happy to see you. Ain't nobody trying to see you. No. So what that does is it creates an environment where this guy feels like it's me against them. So even if that wasn't in his heart initially, that's what happens. Because
in some cases, or in the majority of cases, y'all pulling up on defense mode already, kinda, sorta.
If you're not ready for it, okay. If you're not mentally ready for it, because you pulling up in a situation, and as soon as you pull up, you know, people like looking at you like, we don't want you here. Or it's a situation where everybody is kind of being evasive. Like somebody done called the police and say, oh, they was fighting outside, they pulled guns out, whatever. Now, the police ain't got magic. Clearly somebody in y'all neighborhood done called and the police pull up.
No, nobody know nothing.
But don't nobody know nothing. So like, who done called the police? So the police they just trying to figure out what's going on. They like, okay, who got the gun? Let me start talking to people. But then once they go talking to people, a lot of times is that like, I ain't got nothing to do with it. What crime did I commit? Why is you talking to me? So now the officer, like, once again, there's de-escalation, and then there's taking that challenge. Now the challenge is, okay, he trying me, so that officer feel like, wait, this is my scene. You know what I'm saying? Not his attitude is, you back up, you go over there, don't cross that line, and you come talk to me, give me your ID. And people is like, why do you need my ID? It's like, because I said so. You know what I'm saying? That energy has changed, and that might, in some cases, it might be, but like it that's not the intention. The intention is, I want to do my job, but now they've gotten frustrated because like, I'm only here because somebody called me. I'm trying to do my job, and y'all making it difficult.
Right, y'all wasting my time.
But now, but the de-escalation side of that is to understand and respect the situation. Why is it that these people don't want to talk to you? Why is it that everybody basically like turning their nose up in a sense of, oh, you pulling up? Part of it is because they know you don't care. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like so if fools out here with guns and they waving around as kids out here, clearly nobody want kids to get hurt. You as a police officer are here to help this situation, find out who has them, make sure everybody gonna be safe. So if your intention is to help, why don't your demeanor say I'm here to help?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that be where that disconnect is. So that de-escalating side of it, a lot of times it means that you might have to bite your tongue. It means you got to take an L. When they be like, you know what I'm saying? When somebody like, I'm not talking to you, like go talk to somebody else, man. Don't even come up on me. Like somebody talking to you with that energy. Like if I'm not working, I'm in a situation, bro. Who you talking to? You know what I'm saying? But I understand. I got this uniform on, though.
Right.
So my job ain't to be out here arguing with you as if I'm not in this uniform. Because if I wasn't in this uniform, I'd be at the crib. I wouldn't even be out here.
Would you be here?
You know what I'm saying? So I'm here to help you, but it has to be seen that way. So if initially, it might take, all right, you got that one. So look, I see that this little girl, oh, do you know her? Do you know, oh, that's my little niece, whatever. Bro, I'm just trying to make sure she good. You grown. To be honest with you, and I keep it real, like, bro, to be honest with you, I don't really care what happened to you. You know what I'm saying? I care what happened to her, though. I don't want nothing bad to happen to you, and I hope you make it home safe.
Right.
But that's none of my business. And you know that. That's why you like, why did I get you an ID? I'm none of your business either. So I understand that. But let's make sure she's straight. How do we work together and make sure she's straight?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And the response a lot of times is gonna be like, bro, I got her, don't worry about it. But like, yeah, but if you got her, if I do it, everybody win. If you do it, she might not see you again. So I'm trying to make sure that you straight so you can be her and she be straight.
Right.
But that conversation looked totally different because you can't do nothing but respect it. Even if you don't want to hear it, it's like, all right, I see what you're saying.
But that don't be the approach.
That ain't the approach.
Right.
You know what I mean? That ain't the approach a lot of times. But it's hard to have that approach when it's unfamiliar to you, when you've never been there before. And so to go here with it, I think the biggest thing in our country in general, the biggest thing in America is nobody wants to be told to do by somebody that don't understand them, or they deem that person doesn't understand them.
That's key. That's key right there. That they already, perceived already before they even arrive to the scene, that they had a mind made up that they already don't think that you understand where they coming from. Being a black man in a uniform, or whoever pull up to the scene, it's just the fact that you the police, and we just don't fuck with the police.
Right. That color don't mean nothing until it's behind closed doors.
So let me ask you this: do you feel like you get a different response from the public because you are a black officer, whether positively 100%. Or negatively from your counterpart, white officer, whoever else is?
100%. It go both ways. Typically, my like the reception I get is always gonna be more welcoming than than one of my white partners or whatever.
Do you think that's because you are a black officer? Or is it because you've built up this reputation as being who you are as an officer?
I think it's
maybe a combination of both.
I think it's a combination of both, but it's mainly the reputation. I would deem to say that it's more the reputation, because there's still to this day there's people that don't know who I am. Like, so I walk up and the first thing they do, man, look at this seller, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, you got brainwashed, blah blah blah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you go in the academy, I know what they do. Like you pulled me up. Like, man, you know how many times somebody done, I stop them. And I use my traffic stops as educational moments, bro. I don't write a lot of tickets. And people hurting as it is. Like, I'm not trying to make it worse.
And that's crazy, bro, because you say you don't write a lot of tickets, but I ain't never not been stopped by a state boy and not gotten a ticket.
Hey, which is crazy.
They write that motherfucker every time.
Yeah, I literally gotta make myself write tickets, because I realize, man, like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't wrote a ticket in a minute. You know what I'm saying? I done stopped 15 people and I'm letting everybody slide. Like, but the thing is, it's also like the whole point of making a traffic stop, or right, you know what I'm saying? The whole point of that is to correct a driving behavior. Right. You know what I'm saying? So if me talking to you corrects that behavior, for example, if let's just say somebody pulled out into the wrong lane. You know, traffic busy, so they pull in the turning lane first and then hop over instead of waiting. You know, they just trying to get in there. We all been in them situations, you know what I'm saying? So the thing is, what is me writing you a ticket gonna do? Make you pay for making a decision that people make every day versus just bringing out to like, look, I know you did it. I get why you did it. I already know. At the end of the day, it's not a big deal. I just want you to know, because you may not know, like, you can't do that. Like, when you turn, you have to turn into the lane of travel. You can't turn into the turning lane and then wait to get over. Like, I understand what you're doing because you're trying to get a little bit closer. So now when you move over, it's that much easier.
That's it.
You know, I'm like, so I get it. So you may not know that that's, you know what I'm saying, an illegal turn or improper turn. So I just want to educate you on it so that you, A, understand the dangers of doing that, and B, understand that if you do that again, you could potentially be cited if the officer see it or whatever. But I don't expect you to know that, so I'm just gonna educate you on it. Same thing with tinted windows. Everybody got tints, but tints illegal in Michigan. So I might, pull up on somebody. I already know I'm not writing a ticket when I'm walking up. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just pulling up like, hey, a lot of people got tints. Are you familiar with the tint laws in Michigan? Most people gonna say nah, or they gonna say, yeah, these came this way. Like that ain't how it works. So now I'm gonna take this time, like, look, this is what the law say. You can have 3 inches here, blah blah blah, and I'm gonna run through it. Like, it's not about how dark it is. That's a misconception. So when you get a car and you put the tints on there, and they like, oh, it's legal because it's 30% or whatever. I'm like, they lying and you get your bread. Now it look good. So it look good. So I get why you put it on there. Or if you just don't want people all in your car, do your thing. I just want you to know, you know what I'm saying? Like this is what it is or whatever, and this is why I stopped you. But so many times that's my only goal, and it's like, man, you stopped me because you seen me riding, you know what I'm saying, and all that, and I'm looking around like, you know what I'm saying? Like, am I not black no more? Like, look, man, you stopped me, you seen the black man pull up in the Benz, and you thought this, and that.
No, that's not the case.
But you know what I'm saying? That's crazy because I'm looking at it, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm me, so this person, I'm like, bro, I don't like. If I see you out here with a Benz, you good for you,
right?
Especially if you 23, 24, good. You doing something that is bringing you some type of success. I hope your success is in a, you know what I'm saying, is in a realm to where you can continuously do that and not put yourself in danger and ain't nothing illegal or whatever. But at this point, that's none of my business.
Right. I'm just trying to get you hip to what these tent laws is, bro. That's it.
That's it. That's all I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of times where I feel like officers all automatically are trying to be professional, but they don't know what they're doing. And what I mean is, how many times have you been pulled over or been in a car with somebody get pulled over, and the question, so where you coming from today? Comes up.
Facts.
Hey, where you headed to?
Why do it matter?
Exactly. Like, why is you asking this question? Like, so, you know what I'm saying? I'm a training officer now, so a lot of times when I'm training, I catch it. Like, they do it right out the academy. They don't even know. I'm like, why did you just ask that question? Most of them can't tell you why. They like, I don't know.
This is what I've seen. This is what I've experienced.
So I'm telling, like, you should always have a goal of what you asking. Like, when you ask somebody something, it should be for a purpose.
Right.
Well, it's just small. It's not small talk. Because when you black and you sitting there, I feel like you checking into me. I can't freely move about.
You trying to fish for something.
Yeah, you fishing. You trying to see if something up. I feel like you're investigating me. So a lot of times that don't even be the police goal. They they just don't know what to say. So it's like, I just asked him where he's going because it was a nice day.
It'd be that, and then it'd be the phrase, you know why I stopped you.
That's another one.
That'd be the other phrase, I have an idea, but no, tell me please.
That's another thing. You know what I'm saying? And when somebody with me or whatever, you know what I'm saying, they learn in the ropes or whatever, that's one thing that I tell them. Like, I'm like, man, try not to ask people that question or don't ask people that question. It's your job to recognize what they did, and it's your job to educate them on it. Why is you playing 21 questions? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why is you trying to get this person to say it? Because I'm like, the only thing gonna happen is they gonna take it as you trying to catch them up and trying to incriminate them.
Yeah, because that's exactly how I take it.
Yeah, it's like do you know why you stopped me?
Right, or is you fucking with me like that?
Yeah. And you want me to tell you because you really don't know. So I'm like, now you've already put this person on the defensive, and that was never your goal.
And now we in a whole different situation.
Yeah, so now when you try to transition and beautiful sunny day today, it's like, man, come on, bro.
Write my ticket. You gonna write me a ticket?
Yeah,
you that be the thing, bro. Like
so,
I already don't mess with you.
Yeah.
You already asking questions that I feel like you trying to get me to incriminate myself. Then you trying to make small talk and kiki, bro. Nah, bro. Just
ain't that.
I'm trying to get home as quickly as possible because there's this thing that y'all got in this country with killing me.
Right.
And I ain't trying to experience that.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, it's like a lot of officers, you know what I'm saying, don't want to acknowledge that that's the reality.
Right.
Because it's not their reality.
Right.
So to them, they know, like, man, I'm here to help the community I work in, or I'm here to feed my family. This is a job. I don't have no desire to hurt nobody, or I don't hate black people. I don't this and that. Yeah, but when you too neutral because you don't understand black people, you get lumped in the group with all of the, you know what I'm saying, everything that's on the news, everything that's on the media, these different videos, you starting to sound, it look a lot, you know, a lot of similarities are beginning to pop up in them red flags. Because I'm sitting in my car, bro, I just recently had it happen to me 2 weeks ago. I got flicked, you know what I'm saying, on Apple, and it was like, hey, where you going? Where you coming from? What's this and that? Like, they ain't know I was, and I'm sitting there like straight up, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it was somebody that I don't work with before. They didn't peep it right away.
Right.
But I peeped it. I'm like, bro, we was just together like 2 weeks ago. Like, we was on the same scene, blah, 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 whatever. Right. But they just seen me outside and they didn't recognize or whatever. So, you know, them situations, you know, is something that I try to, you know, educate guys on, and I try to use my voice and my position, because over the years, like, I've, you know, kind of got some accolades and stuff with the job, and I've kind of shown, you know, that I'm, you know, I'm solid in my line of work or whatever. But at the same time, I've done it never chasing like arresting, chasing numbers, and you get some police officers like that too, where they big in the numbers. They're like, oh, that's a felony arrest, and this, you know what I'm saying, this person had this, and so they get caught up in that because they want to make themselves look good. And I took 10 people to jail. I wrote 35 tickets. I wrote 50 tickets a day. Like, but is that what you really got into it for? That's what you signed up for? You know what I mean? Right. So that's what would be crazy to me. It's like, brother, you losing the sight of what you was doing.
Facts. So with the current, you know, racial climate in the country, and you being a black officer, how does that make you feel?
Torn. The torn is probably the perfect word. Isolated. You know what I'm saying? Because I get both sides. Like, I've been black way longer than I've been a police officer. I've been a state boy for 8 years now. You know what I'm saying? 8 years versus I'll be 35 next month. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it ain't no comparison. In all my experience, like I said, coming up, all my experience was negative. I still have those memories, and I still have those experiences. And my whole goal when I became a state boy, the biggest thing was I was still in Hawaii, and I was looking back at home, and I was seeing the situations in the country happening, and I was seeing how, you know, the city was turning, and what this was turning into. And I made it a point then, like, man, if I could do anything, because I ain't want to come back to Michigan at all. Like, after living in Hawaii, like, I want to go somewhere else, and you know what I'm saying, and
see more of the country.
Yeah, but you know, of course, you know, this home and family here and all that, and that's all important. But deep down, I was like, man, I don't know if I want to live back in Muskegon ever. But after seeing that, I was like, you know what? I feel like it would be a disservice to be from here and then go and give my passion to help. You know what I'm saying? Our people, like, it wouldn't sit right with me. I'm doing that for somebody else, but it's my own community with people I care about. You know what I'm saying? And little people, the little kids that's coming up. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have no representation in law enforcement, so they only know the same experiences that I had coming
that you had growing up.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the only experience they have. So my thing is, like, I'm like, man, I know I ain't about to change the world, but I'm like, I can change my community, or at least I can change enough people's, perception when they interact me, because I ain't got nothing to do with what happened with the last officer or what happened with the last black officer, because you got a lot of black officers that, you know what I'm saying, that jump off the deep end too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they get caught in that thing where, once again, like I told you, sometimes it becomes a us against them. So when you in an environment and you with this man every night, whatever, y'all partners or y'all work together, whatever, and there's situations where y'all done been in life or death situations, and this person that held you down or looked out for you, this is like, you know what I mean, this my guy now, he looked out for me. And the person that was trying to harm me was somebody that looked like me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So then it's like, is my loyalty to this dude or this dude?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And realistically, it's easy to pick one or the other. You know what I'm saying? It becomes a situation where you got to pick one or the other. And for me, that was never difficult, because once again, I've been black a lot longer than I'm a police officer. So my thing is, I've used this job to help people, and I understand sometimes when you help people, unfortunately, people get hurt.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
And what I mean by that is, I done pulled somebody over, and you know what I'm saying, dude, you know what I'm saying, might be 19, 20, whatever, you know, got a pistol in the car, whatever the situation is. Now, I have to arrest him. His mom gonna feel a certain way, his brother gonna feel a certain way, and I feel a certain way. I don't want to lock this man up. I know he made a mistake, whatever the case is, but at the same time, we know everybody ain't innocent. We know we got a lot of savages running around. So if this man is out here shooting up the community, making it unsafe, it's one of those things where me putting him, you know what I'm saying, in handcuffs and having to do what I have to do, that don't feel good. You know what I'm saying? But did I just save somebody's life tonight? Did somebody mama not have to cry because I stopped him right here before he made it to his destination and made it worse? Because now he just catching a little gun case, whatever. He was about to catch a homicide case. Right. He was about to be gone, you know what I'm saying? So he can't appreciate it at the time, but he know what his intentions was. So while he got to sit there and think about it, it might, especially being that young, he might not, but it might be years later where he got to sit there and be like, dang, bro, I was really on that. Like, I'm gonna take this little probation, or I'm gonna take this little year or whatever, and try to do something else with it, because I know what I was on. Right. And that could have been my life. You know what I mean? So I got so sometimes it's like, I know that this is gonna rub and make some people upset, but at the same time, the people that it's helping don't realize they being helped. So you don't get none of the praise. There's nobody saying thank you so much for taking that young man to jail, because they don't know that was your nephew that he was about to go smoke. Right. They don't know that. So they looking at me, why you messing with him? Why y'all had to do all that? But they don't realize, like, you was gonna be crying in 20 minutes asking for justice.
Man, it's all about perspective. Yeah. Man. It's all about perspective. It's all about perspective, because that's, honestly, I didn't even think of it like that. You know, you just literally stating that right now just lit a light bulb in my head. Was like, yeah, like you helping this you hindering this individual right now in his eyes, but you helping him in the long run, the big picture. Yeah. And you helping the community in the big picture. Yeah. And I can totally understand how you torn, you know, because we do live in a predominantly black community, right? And you are just trying to do your job, right? But at the same time, like you said, arresting somebody and taking somebody to jail, that shit don't feel good, you know, because now you are at to a certain extent, you are adding to the systemic, you know,
the numbers.
Yeah, them numbers, right? The statistics of black men and black people, you know, being in the system. But at the same time, you also are helping the statistics of lowering black bodies and individuals, you know, being taken out and losing their life. Yeah.
So all I can do with that, I keep that in mind. All I can do is, like I said, treat people with respect. Like, and it sounds so basic and so simple, but every case you see, I ain't gonna say every, but the majority of cases you see, where you know, you get these viral videos of police doing the wrong thing and all that, most of the time there's clear disrespect that start right from the gate. And a lot of times it's taught with tone, but once again, now we go back into culture and training. You can't train somebody how to talk to black people.
No.
That person, you know what I mean? You can't train somebody, you know what? When we talk, especially when you talking about the situations where police get called, you talking about a high stress situation. You know what I mean? This person might have just found out that, you know, his daughter just got robbed or just got carjacked or whatever the case, raped or whatever the case is. So when he talking, see what I'm telling you, you know what I mean? He doing all that. The officer, okay, you know, all right, calm down. Like, but they don't understand. He not about to swing on you. That energy ain't towards you. His daughter just became a victim, and he wasn't there to protect his daughter. But the way he's portraying himself and that energy he's giving off is now as a threat. Like what? This guy's out of control. No, he ain't. You know what I mean? Like, but if it's unfamiliar to you, everything is a threat. You know what I'm saying? Everything is a potential threat because it's like, I can see it. I look back, he do look like he gonna swing on you, but he not. You know what I mean? Like he not mad at you. He's talking to you, so it sound like he mad at you. And maybe he do got a little thing where he like, y'all ain't gonna do nothing anyway, because once again, y'all don't care. So if you don't care, why am I wasting my time talking to you? I could be on the phone trying to figure out what happened to my daughter and doing it myself, because y'all ain't really gonna do nothing anyway. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that happens a lot of times too. You know what I'm saying? Seeing that kind of stuff, and the only way around it is to be understanding and to try to understand, and that, and in all fairness, that's a little easier for me from seeing both sides than it is, you know, for a white guy who maybe never been around black people, or not, he's not really from that, you know what I'm saying? And that goes to another point I want to make, is like, nobody wants to be policed by people that don't look like them.